Hey guys, today I'm doing a video on bits and why Tom bits are not good. And they're like basically one of the most poorly designed bits, which makes them really harsh. Even light riders, it's really bad for your horses, even if you have really light hands. So let me find. I have one here. I got this one with my English bridle, and I immediately took it off, and it's been sitting in a box ever since, so it's completely rusty and all that good gunk. So yeah, this one's has relatively short shanks on it, so it isn't absolutely terrible. There's some out there that have, I mean, like, it's still a really bad bit, but it's not terrible compared to like other ones that have like 7 or 8 inch shanks. Okay, but anyway, yeah, they're just not a good bit because they give a lot of mixed signals, which confuses your horse. Oh, especially direct training. The bit was originally designed to be a transition from a snaffle to a curb bit, so it's really not very good at all, and it doesn't do its job. It just confuses the horses, and it's really bad if you have a young horse and you're trying to transition. That means it's just going to be that much harder and that much more confusing for your horse, and it's really not good for him. But basically it creates a really bad nutcracker effect, which is really nasty on your horse's mouth. I guess one of our things is, if you don't know what the bit does, don't use it. If you don't know exactly where it's applying pressure, don't use it. Like I said, don't use this. I don't really care a lot about what it does, but I do know some. A lot of, like, you have your chin strap on, so I'm going like this. If you try to pull on this rein, it's also going to pull on this rein. So this is still hitting your horse in the side of the face, so it's still putting pressure on this side, along with putting pressure on this side. So your horse has pressure coming from both sides. Can you do that with the snaffle? I'm going to try not to be loud here. Everybody else is sleeping. You know what? Give me a sec to sort this out. And I'm going to show you some other bits. They're almost all Western bits though, so I personally think if you ride your horse in a snaffle or a curb bit, you have major holes in your training and you shouldn't even be on your horse's back. Or you should, but you need to really work on that, because your training's obviously not very good. Okay, I think we got this all sorted out, so campus in while you be in the way. I should have brought my other bridle. Crown of horsiness, stabbing me in the eye. Okay, so snaffle bit. Cut off. This is the D-ring snaffle. But anyway, I'm actually put this right here. So, see, if you pull this way, this has virtually no effect. It also has no leverage. So, if you pull 5 pounds on here, your horse can feel 5 pounds. If you pull 5 pounds on this thing, it's got your shanks. So, there you go. Like levers. Like, everybody learned that in like 4th grade, 5th grade. You use a lever, you increase how much you can pull. Same thing with these. So you pull 5 pounds, your horse feels 10 pounds, or this one's short. You can have longer shanks like this, which are not, honestly, probably better is this one. Even though it doesn't have longer shanks, it's not absolutely confusing your horse. If you train your horse right, this is going to be a bazillion times better. Oh goodness, what was I going to say? Lost my train of thought. But you get something like this, you pull 5 pounds, your horse gets 15, 20 pounds. And then if your horse ain't listening, you pull 10 pounds, your horse is getting 20, 30. And it just escalates and escalates. Okay, so that's that. So snaffle bits obviously work differently. One And like I said, if you can't ride your horse in a snaffle or a curve bit, you have holes in your training and you need to go back. And I can't stress that enough. And Veronica's probably coming in here. Like, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello? Oh, nope, she's going downstairs. Never mind. Okay. Anyway, yeah, it's like 11 o'clock at night, and I'm just in here talking, and my rabbit's digging a hole, or trying to dig a hole. But anyway, when you pull on both reins, you got the pressure. Pull on one rein, direct rein, obviously. If you're only pulling, it's only going to pull on this side. Go this side, it's going to pull on that side. I guess I'm not actually using the reins, but same. And a good way to test your bits out is put them in the crook of your elbow, like this, and feel. So pull back on both reins, feel that, and actually hook your arm around it, and you can feel it. And that's what will be happening in your horse's mouth, too. Like, just the way, this one's probably not very good, because it's obviously got a whole bunch of rust on it, but I don't even feel comfortable even just holding it like this. Like, it's really pinchy compared to my snaffle. My snaffle, see, these are really, really thin, like the jointed mouthpiece. And it's a common misconception that Tom thumb bits are snaffles, but they're really not. Any bit with a shank is technically not a snaffle. A lot of people say otherwise, but I'm on a bidding group, Bitting, B-I-T-T-I-N-G group, with over 2,000 members, and if all 2,000 of us agree on it, yeah. But other people seem to think differently. The snaffle, it has direct pull, and you get pound for pound what you get. You pull 5 pounds, you get 5 pounds. Yeah, so that's your snaffle, and you have O-rings, and I like this because the cannons on this. I honestly prefer these over O-ring snaffles because it has a cannon, not camel, cannon, which is right here. You see how that piece right there doesn't move, so it can't pinch your horse's mouth as much. So I do like that. And if you do use an O-ring, try to use bet guards with it. That'll help quite a bit, and it'll stop from pinching. Make sure your bit fits your horse and everything. So now I have like 4 different Western bits, and I'm going to show you 3 of them that aren't on a bridle. So first one, this thing, barely any levers. So in case you guys don't know a Western bit, these are the shanks. This little bent piece is called the port, and these are the cannons on the curb bits. This is really nice short shanks and it has a low port, so this is a relatively mild bit. Ain't gonna do much. It's a rock and R bit, or an R of some sort. I can't tell. It's kind of dirty. It looks like an R anyway. Hey, yeah. And honestly, I'd use this on Chuck. No problem. Okay, so now getting out this one that I showed you earlier. I don't see no brand or nothing on this. Probably just some generic piece of crap that we have probably like 5 or 6 curb bits that aren't even on bridles. And yeah, this is one. This one's got longer shanks, and ports maybe a little bit higher, but they're relatively the same from what I can tell. So they're not too bad. This one just has longer shanks. And like I said, the longer the shank, the more pressure you apply. Now this one, I really don't like this one too much. And it's got really, really, really long shanks, as you can see. Like, here's the really short one. Like, way shorter. And then here's the other one, which isn't as short, but that's still another inch or so, as you guys can see. So this one I would refrain from using on a horse. This looks like a really, really wide piece. Like, I don't know, that just seems really wide to me, like for a really large horse. Yeah, like I said, it's got really long shapes. The port is, in comparison to the middle one, It's yet again a little steeper, so still don't like that very much. But yeah. And you use these mostly if you're just neck raiding. You're neck raiding, and that's basically, you can't direct rain in these things. So basically all it does is when it sits like this in the horse's mouth, it depends on, it should sit about like this. So depending on how curved the shanks are, it could technically be a curb bit or a grazing bit. I just say the same thing to me. It just depends on how much curve they got to them. Like if this was curved back like this much, like where this hand is, I'd consider that more of a grazing bit, because what it is so they can eat with their bit in. So this will be farther back so they don't knock the shanks on the ground and bump themselves while they're eating. What else can I say about this bit? Not really anything else I can think of at the moment. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Like I said, if you don't know how your bit works, don't use it. If you don't know exactly where the pressure is being applied, do not use it. I emphasize that just as much as I emphasize you can't use. Basically, for the most part, a plain Snapple. You do rollers, sure. French links aren't too bad, so I'd say the most a French link or a Snapple with rollers. No twisted wires. Them things hurt like crazy. Yeah, just smooth. Try to be nice. Yeah. I really think if you have to use a harsh bit on your horse, unless your horse is like professionally trained, like you're literally professional, like some of the people out there who use like spade bits and stuff, that they've been at it for years and they could go ride their horse bridleless pretty much, then only then would I actually recommend to anybody to actually do that. But only if you've had 40, 50 plus years experience working and training horses, and your horse can basically be ridden with nothing on, because you don't want to yank around. So, like I said, I use my English bridle on Chuck, and then here's his Western bridle. So this is a little more of a grazing bit, to an extent. It's copper coated, so it tastes a little better. So yeah, I don't mind copper coating. Your horse likes copper. Copper. Oh, that's the name of the horse I'm training. LOL. Anyway, but yeah, it's a relatively low port, kinda. Actually, I think it might be higher than this one. Can't tell. They're about the same. This one might be a little bit bigger, but like I said, Chuck can be ridden bridleless. Ain't even no need for a bit. I could stick any bit in his mouth and not have to touch it at all. So anyway, this is I have. I don't think the shanks are too terribly long. They're about the same length as this one. Actually, I think they're longer. Yeah, it depends. This one's got the circular tips. This one has the teardrop ones. So depending on how, because some horses will actually pick up the bit for you. They'll carry it in their mouth, and that's what you want. You want the horse to be on the bit and working with it. You don't want it to just sitting there or have it fold their lips back and having it just constantly pressure. You want it to be loose, and then you want them to pick it up. You don't want to have to force them to have it in their mouth. Like Chuck, he just opens his mouth, no problems with putting a bit in it at all, unless it's cold. Yeah, that can cause problems if you keep trying to put a cold bit in your horse's mouth. Your horse ain't never gonna want to put a bit in his mouth. That's why it made my bit warmer. But yeah, so that's why the bridles. That's the bridles that we use. If you really need anything more than this, you have training issues and you need to go back and fix them and correct them. So my advice to you, if you don't know what the bit does, don't use it at all. That's a no-no. If you really need anything more than a simple curb bit or a Snapple bit or a French link, then you probably shouldn't be working with your horse, really. You really need to get a different bit in his mouth and start over. If you're having trouble with the Snapple and everything, then you have trouble with your groundwork. You have trouble writing, you have trouble with your groundwork. But yeah, just constantly. I see people like, ooh, look at this bit. It looks fancy and schmancy. Yeah, let's stick it in my mouth and see. Let's stick it in my horse's mouth and see if it works. But yeah. I say, if you don't know what it does, don't use it at all. If you don't know exactly where it's applying pressure, don't use it. Snapples and curve bits, that's easy to know, and it's not too much of a problem. But you got to do your homework, and if you don't, then you're just dumb and lazy. It's really not that hard, guys. And some snapples and curves and stuff, they won't fit your horse's mouth, but that's why you got to find the one that does, because there's plenty of different types of thickness. And everything fits in every horse's mouth differently. Like this one, small in the middle, and then it gets really thick towards the outside, as you can see. And then, yeah, every horse is different. Find one that fits your horse. That's not harsh or anything at all. That you know exactly where it's putting pressure at. And, yeah, pretty much. So, throw these in the trash, use them for dye project. A lot of people actually use them. I don't know how they do it. They actually make them. They like take these apart. That way they can slide them in and out, like one of the shank pieces. And I make them like toilet paper roll holders. Like, I really want to learn. I want to make one. I really do. And then if you want to, on Facebook, it's the bit group that I'm in. And I'll go ahead and read this to you. It says, new members, please read. This is a high volume list and very active. The parts of bits, the rule of thumb is that if you can't explain how the bit you're using works, don't use it, like I said. You should know the force-pressure ratios and the order of actions or the goal. Examples are lifter to tuck in, quick releases, and why it is necessary to use that bit. If you have an answer to any of the above is I don't know, then don't use the bit. Snapples do not have shanks ever. If the bit has shanks, regardless of the mouthpiece, it is a curved bit. The only things that can be listed for sale on this page are bridles, bits, reins, and such. No saddles, no boots, no sneakers, no sunglasses, timeshares, etc. List any forbidden item once and you will be gone. It's a one-strike rule. Scammer warning, I will boot you out so fast you will catch on fire. This is from the admin. Her name is Tracy. Winter is coming start. Taking posts or screenshots from this list and posting them elsewhere will get your insert nice word butt booted so fast you will catch fire as you leave the group. It's a one strike and you're gone issue. Leave all the stupid bit cliches at the door. We have heard them all. Please do not say any bit can be soft with the right hands. It lowers the IQ of the entire group. Most of them evoke painful eye rolling and the pounding of heads on desks. So to preserve the mental, I can't pronounce that word, of the group, don't use bit cliches. And I would like to say that to an extent. There are some bits out there that it just don't matter how hard you are, but the softer you are, the better. And yeah. The posters here are volunteers. We offer our time, expertise, and research, intelligence, humor, and love of the horses for free. No cost to buy a DVD or pay shipping. Respect it. There's a wealth of knowledge here that covers every aspect from colt starting to rehabbing race horses. Every event possible with the horse is covered. Humor and sarcasm are acceptable, if not hurtful. Whining will get you removed. Anyone, insert naughty word me off, has to pay a toll of a semi. Insert more stuff that is inappropriate for the blog. No flouncing allowed. If you're going to leave, don't make a production of it. This is not a bit charm school. This is a bit boot camp. It will be as pleasant or as bad as you make it. And then below that they have a whole bunch of things about the bits. Goodness. But yeah, there's tons and tons and tons of discussions, and people ask about all their bit issues. But yeah. And I will say there are drama queens on here from time to time. yeah, there's somebody on here who's got the Tom Thumb bit, and they did the elbow trick too. Goodness, trying to think anything else. I'm looking through to see if there's anything. But yeah, and like I said, I personally think if you can't ride your horse in a curb or snaffle, then you really shouldn't be riding. You should go back and fix your groundwork. Like I said, it can be a variation, like a copper snaffle, like I have, or a snaffle, or not copper snaffle, a copper curb bit, or you could have one with rollers. Yeah, some of them do have rollers. We actually acquired this bit from a friend who used to own Wildfire, and that was the only bit she'd ever ride in, so they gave it to her. They gave it to us because we bought her, and that's how we acquired it. And Chuck seems to like that a little bit more than the other one, so apparently he likes the taste of copper. And trying to think of anything else. Yeah, like I said, variations. You can do snaffles with rollers or French link. No twisted wires, those are really bad, and no bike chains. That's another really nasty one that I hate seeing people use. But yeah, and I don't know if you guys see hiding behind my guitar in the saddle, or the bits we used to red candy and buttons in. And they're just simple curb bits. And yeah. Anyway, it all turned out pretty well in the life of our horses. They get snaffles and curb bits, no Tom Thumbs, no nasty, horrible, mean bits in their mouth. But yeah. Join, and I forgot to tell you guys the name of the group. It's called Horses, and then I'll just tell you literally horses, and then it's colon, proper bits and bitting techniques. The one thing that I really hate that I see a lot on here is people who say their horse puts its tongue over the bit, and a lot of people do tongue tying, which is really popular in the racing industry too, and that's just completely stupid. Which, yeah, I'm not even gonna go into that topic because that'll just turn into a huge rant on stupid horse owners. But yeah, if your horse, like I said, main points, if you don't know what the bit does, don't use it. If you can't ride your horse in a curb or a snaffle of some variation, you're missing something in your training. You need to go back and fix it. You suck. Just kidding. No, you need to go learn and redo it. So, anyway, good luck, horsey people. Use the right bit, not this one.